It was a humid night in late September when I first heard about the Devil's Tree. I had been in Florida for a few months, getting used to the sweltering heat and endless mosquitoes. One night at a bar, a local told me about a massive oak tree in a remote part of Port St. Lucie, infamous for its history of death and malevolence. "You'd be a fool to go there at night," he warned, his eyes dead serious. But I didn't believe in ghost stories, and the idea of some haunted tree seemed ridiculous. After all, it was just a tree, right? That weekend, curiosity got the best of me. I grabbed my flashlight, hopped in my car, and drove out to Oak Hammock Park, the place where the tree supposedly stood. The drive itself was eerie enough, dark, winding roads cutting through thick woods with no signs of life for miles. When I pulled up to the park, I could see the massive silhouette of the oak looming against the moonlit sky. I wasn't prepared for the way the air felt when I got out of my car. Heavy, oppressive, like something was pressing down on my chest. My instincts screamed at me to leave, but I shook it off and walked toward the trail that led to the tree. The thick canopy overhead made it even darker, and every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig made my heart race. The further I walked, the quieter it got. Soon, I couldn't even hear the usual sounds of the forest. No crickets, no owls, just silence. That's when I saw it, the Devil's Tree. Even in the dark, its twisted branches looked unnatural, as if they were clawing at the sky. The bark was scarred, blackened in places, and the base was covered in strange carvings, pentagrams, strange symbols, the kind you only see in horror movies. I stood there, feeling a sudden rush of regret, wondering why I had come. Then, as I approached the tree, I noticed something strange. The ground beneath it was uneven, as if the earth had been disturbed. I knelt down, brushing away leaves, and realized I was standing on a patch of ground that had once been a shallow grave. My stomach churned. I remembered the story the bartender had told me. Years ago, a serial killer had used this very tree as a dumping ground for his victims. Some people said the tree was cursed. Others claimed the souls of the dead were trapped here. I backed away, suddenly feeling nauseous. That's when the air around me dropped a few degrees. My breath came out in short, visible puffs. I turned to leave, but my feet wouldn't move. The silence was broken by a low whisper. My heart pounded. "Get out!" I froze. The voice wasn't human. It was distorted, raspy, like it came from somewhere deep underground. I spun around, shining my flashlight in every direction, but there was nothing there. The voice came again, closer this time. "Get out!" I couldn't move. I wanted to scream, but my throat was locked up. Then, something cold brushed against my neck. I swung the flashlight toward the sensation, but there was nothing. My mind raced. It had to be the wind. It had to be. Suddenly, I felt a pressure on my shoulder, as if a hand was gripping me, pushing me toward the tree. It was invisible, but unmistakable, and I couldn't fight it. I stumbled forward until I was standing directly in front of the tree. The smell of rotting leaves and earth filled my nose, and I realized I was standing right above the graves. That's when I heard the sound, a faint scratching noise coming from beneath the tree. My legs went weak. Slowly, the scratching grew louder, more frantic, as if something was trying to claw its way out of the ground. I backed away, tripping over my own feet, the beam of my flashlight shaking violently. Then, in the dim light, I saw it. A hand, pale and decayed, pushing up through the soil. I screamed, turning and running as fast as I could back toward the trail. My legs burned, my lungs felt like they were going to explode, but I didn't stop. The whispers followed me, growing louder with each step. "Get out! Get out! Get out!" I reached my car, fumbling with the keys, glancing back to see if I was being followed. There was no one there, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me from the shadows. The tree's silhouette stood against the moonlight, its twisted branches reaching toward the sky like skeletal arms. I sped out of there, my heart still hammering in my chest. For days after, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that hand clawing its way out of the earth. I could still hear the whispers in the back of my mind, telling me to leave, warning me that I shouldn't have disturbed the dead. It wasn't until weeks later that I learned something else. They say the killer who used the tree didn't work alone, that he had a partner, someone who was never caught. And some believe that partner still watches over the tree, ensuring that no one ever gets too close. I haven't been back to Oak Hammock Park since. I don't plan to. But sometimes late at night, I swear I can still hear those whispers beckoning me back.